You don't need more leads. You need to make more money from the ones that you already have. Because right now you're probably spending thousands on marketing, booking calls consistently, and grinding through prospects, but most of them end up ghosting you, they can't afford it, or they just end up being a complete waste of your time. Meanwhile, there are agencies just like yours that are spending the same amount on marketing and making 2, 3, even 10 times the revenue. And that's from having the same traffic and a very similar offer, but somehow they're getting completely different outcomes. And the difference isn't in their marketing or their funnel. In fact, yours might even be better. It's their sales system. And once you have one in place, you can scale so fast that it actually feels unfair. I know this because I single-handedly helped scale an agency from $80,000 a month to $150,000 a month in 60 days just by improving and fixing their sales system. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how the best agencies build sales systems that turn the same marketing spend into 10x results. So let's dive in. The first thing we're going to look at here is a real-life example of two agencies over 1 month with identical marketing, but very different sales systems. And agency A on the left is going to be your agency, and agency B is going to be your competitor who is doing better than you for some reason, and it's pissing you off, right? So you've both got very identical spend, number of calls booked, cost per appointment, show rates, number of calls that people are actually showing up to, but the close rate and average cash collected up front are slightly different. So agency A, your agency, does not have a very good sales system in place. You're just winging it on every sales call, or maybe you have a closer that does that, and there's just no real standardized process in place and standardized process for improving on sales calls, but 18% appears to be getting you good enough results at the moment that you can just keep going with it. Agency B has a sophisticated and actually kind of planned out sales system in place. They've got scripts, they've got call processes, they've got objection handling guidance, they've got a process in place for reviewing their own sales calls and improving and actually getting better over time. And they are closing 1.67 times more deals than you are on the same marketing spend, right? And the same number of calls. And that is meaning that they're closing, about 1.67 times more deals. So instead of getting 6.3 deals closed, obviously, we're working with decimals here, but you get the idea. Instead of 6.3, we are getting 10.5 deals closed in the scenario with agency B, right? And also, if you've got good sales training in place and you've got good closers and you actually have a documented system and you understand it all very well, either you're going to charge more money up front, or more often you're going to have a situation where you charge more upfront to a client. For example, you sell 3 months up front of the service instead of 30 days. So that's why I put the average cash collected as being 20% higher, 1.2 times higher, because every now and then your closer, maybe like 1 in 5 people will prepay for 3 months up front. So you're getting slightly more cash collected, not too much, but slightly more. And it makes a difference. And what this does to the ROAS of your ads, this is the 30-day ROAS. This is like upfront cash collected, right? It's your agency is getting 1.26x ROAS, pretty poor, right? And the other agency is getting 2.52 ROAS, double. And that is making a significant difference, because even if we say the gross margin's the same, right? It's like your fixed costs, the cost of fulfillment, your operational costs, everything are the same. The actual gross profit is $7,560 in your example, but with agency B, it's $15,000, and that's the difference between losing $2,500 or making $5,000 upfront, right? And we're only really going to look at upfront cash collected here because it just saves it getting too complicated. But bear in mind, you may be profitable eventually in example A, but it won't make it easy to scale, because you're always going to have to. Any marketing spend that you scale into is just going to create greater and greater losses and slow down the trajectory of your growth. And you're going to have to wait for 2-3 months, however long it takes for that initial client to, for you to get those second, third, fourth payments, etc., that then make you profitable overall, right? Because you may be profitable overall, in terms of LTV, but it's taking time for you to get to that point. Whereas agency B is profitable straight out the gate, which means they can start plowing money into ads. And that's exactly the example that we're going to go into now. Because when we look at 6 months of this, right? Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't always pan out where the agency invests 100% of their upfront cash collected profits into ads every single month, and it all scales in a kind of linear way. Well, in this case, kind of like in an exponential way. But I've still used that example because it helps illustrate the difference, between those two scenarios where one agency doesn't have a very good sales system and it feels okay, and the other one does have a good one and their agency can explode in terms of growth. So month 1, like we've just looked at, right? Minus 2.5K of cash, in terms of profit, you're actually losing money. Agency B has made 5K. Now, let's just pretend each month that the agency that made money invested that money back into the ads, and the agency that lost it had to deduct that from their monthly marketing spend. Month two would be, you would lose less money, but that's because you're spending less money overall. You've actually collected 9.5K of cash, and the other agency has gone from collecting 25K all the way up to 38K. So there's like almost $30,000 difference in the second month, right? Month three, you've collected 7K, you've had to reduce your spend again. They've collected 58. Month four, 5.4K, and so on and so forth. You can see the numbers get ridiculous. Eventually, you're spending 3K. Oh, sorry, you're spending 2.5K. You're only collecting 3K. And in theory, if they had reinvested their profit every single month into ads and it all played out exactly the same as it did when they were only spending $10,000, which if you're an agency owner, you'll know doesn't happen. But you would still be growing in this scenario much more effectively if you had the better sales system in place. You can see the numbers. They speak for themselves. So this kind of like compounding formula of growth that is being essentially determined by having a good sales system in place, is the very thing that is getting in the way of you scaling your agency right now if you don't have one in place, right? And you're probably going down this like death spiral where month one, like in the example, 10K of ad spend, 6.3 deals closed. Month six, only 2.4K of ad spend and 1.6 deals closed. You're just not making much money at all, cumulatively losing 10K of profit up front over that 6-month period. And because you've not got very much money, you can't hire talent, you can't fix delivery, you can't invest in the growth of your business, and you are trapped doing absolutely everything yourself. And that means that the business is going to plateau. Eventually, you're probably going to shut down because you're either going to hate it or be bored of it or just be miserable in general, right? And the life that you actually wanted when you kind of had a vision for like, all right, I want my life to be like this. I'm going to build a business. I'm going to make the money. Then I'm going to, get all these cool things or whatever, achieve all these great achievements, stays out of reach. Whereas when you're on the other side and you've got a great sales system in place, month one in the example, 10K ad spend, 10 deals closed. Month six, 80K ad spend, 85 deals closed, right? I'm not saying it's going to play out like that in real life, but it can play out much closer, even if it was just quadruple the ad spend, so 40K, right? And 40 deals closed. 40 deals closed is not ridiculous. If you've got 2 good closers, they can be closing 20 deals a month each. You only need 2 sales reps to do that. Like, really? And then you can focus, and they're taking all the sales calls, so you can focus on hiring the fulfillment team to actually do a good job. And you've got all this money, so you can hire great people, and then your clients get great results, and then they stay longer, and then you make more money, right? You've got the ability to hire that full team to fix your delivery or improve your delivery, scale the ads super aggressively, and still have cash left over. And this is going to mean you feel successful, you make more money than you've ever dreamed of, because these things scale really, really quickly when the right stuff's in place. And you actually have the freedom to travel and do cool shit with the boys and, rent Lamborghinis and all that fun online money stuff, right? So let's talk about what actually makes a great sales system. I think 4 kind of core components go into it. Having an effective closer, whether that's the founder first and then a sales rep and then having a team with a manager. Having a documented system, so like training and scripts and processes that turn even people who are just average closers into killers, right? Back-end automation, this is so important. I have really started to kind of see how important this is, especially over the last few months, in terms of like extracting as much value from every lead without you having to do as much manual work. Good closers are very proactive with the leads that are already in the system, and this just makes doing that stuff way easier, like following up with old leads and not letting things slip through the cracks. And then, a commission structure that motivates your closer, right? You want to pay them enough that they just want to print money for you, because by doing that for you, they do it for themselves. It's a win-win. I want to give you some real simple action items to take away straight away. You can just put these into action. So, and they are relevant to the components of a great sales system. So for the first one, improving your closer, whether that's you or someone on your team, I would just watch 10 sales calls where the deal didn't close. And leave granular notes on what went wrong. It will be very obvious when you watch your sales calls or your closer sales calls what went wrong. You just don't want to do it because it's uncomfortable, right? If you do that, that will have the single biggest kind of impact on your close rate without having to pay anybody else to help you with this, without having to, watch videos on YouTube about how to close from Alex Hormozy. Just watch 10 sales calls, leave granular notes on what went wrong, and when you're in your next sales call or your closer is, they will remember, or you will remember, what you did wrong, and you will avoid doing it. It makes a huge difference. I'm a big advocate for doing this because it'll just help you improve how you execute moving forward. Even booking out 1 slot in your calendar per day that you would usually have a sales call and just spending that hour looking at 1 call, you will make more money than if you otherwise would have just let a call book in that slot, right? The second thing, documenting your system, especially if you're still the one closing. Write down what you do day to day. And how you take calls, how you follow up, how you track activity in the CRM. If you do that, Christ, I hope you do. And then standardize and follow it. That alone is just going to make you more efficient. If you do not have a documented sales process in place and you're just like reinventing the wheel every single day or just like recalling it from memory, like, oh yeah, sometimes I do this, sometimes I do that. It's just inefficient. And if you're a business owner, you need to be efficient because there's too much shit to do every day for you to possibly do in a day. So the less time you spend doing anything is better because you've always got other stuff that you could be spending your time on, right? Automating the manual work. This is super important, right? Because again, for the very same reason, you want to be spending as little time possible doing this stuff as possible. If you are the sales rep, and if you've got a sales rep, you don't want them doing loads of manual work and being inefficient. You want them making as much money for the business and yourself as possible, right? So look at what you're doing manually right now or what they're doing manually, figure out what can be automated from there. So any follow-ups, reactivations, pipeline management, I've got loads of CRM like automations and flows that I've built for myself and for my clients that make this super easy. And if you can't figure out what could be automated, just brain dump everything you can think of, literally like voice to text into an LLM, ideally like Claude. I prefer that one now. I'm team Claude. And ask it for ideas. What could I automate? Give me some ideas. And it will give you ideas. And you can build it. And you can ask it how to build them. So, you could learn the skill. It's simple. You get your sales rep to do it. God. And then, finally, as far as the commission structure, you want to fix it to incentivize the behavior you want. The best structure is when your sales rep hits a certain threshold of commission, of new cash collected usually, and then they unlock a higher percentage. So like if you say, hey, if you collect 50K this month of of new cash, I will give you 12.5% instead of 10%. I'll give you a bonus, which ends up being like whatever 2.5% of 50K is, 1,200 or something, or 1,000, something like that. Why can't I work this out? Something like that. You get the idea. Maybe it's not that much, but you can run the numbers yourself based on the economics of your offer. And you want to set that threshold so high that like you're not mad if they hit it and you have to pay them more because they've made you way more. So it's like everyone's happy. You should both be printing cash together. But yeah, I hope that's been helpful for you. If you want help with any of this, building the system, recruiting a closer, training the closer, having a fractional sales manager manage that closer so you don't have to think about sales anymore and you can focus on growing the business and doing the things in the business that only you can do, and also having a good time and traveling the world and hanging out with the boys and renting, supercars and getting on jet skis and going for nice dinners, then you can book a call with me in the link in the description, and I will see you in the next one.